Please welcome Melissa Talmadge Cox.
My name is Melissa Talmadge Cox. That's just my grandfather. I grew up in Santa Monica, just up the way. My dad worked at 20th Century Fox Movies. I got to see Bing Crosby sing White Christmas. I went to Jane Mansfield's Pink Mansion for my daughter's 10th birthday party. Treating at Lucille Ball's house. I had my picture taken with Hugh O'Brien at the studio. I lived a couple of blocks away from Esther Williams. Cary Grant and Gary Cooper were in my dad's little black address book, but the rule was I was not allowed to print. I also have a wonderful picture of my father sitting on Marilyn Monroe's lap, an unpublished photo. I tell you this because I want you to know that I wasn't starstruck. My family had a lot of Hollywood heritage. So I knew a lot of the secrets that my dad would come home and tell us. And I wasn't impressed with a lot of the to-do with Hollywood. At the same time, when I was growing up, I would go over to Woodland Hills and I would visit the man who was my grandfather. He was in his 60s, his hair was gray and receding. He was also getting a little bit of a spread waistline. The silent films were still silent. Nothing was available when I was growing up. I never saw my grandfather in a film while he was alive. And then, the things that I saw him at that time were beach blanket bingo and candid camera. So I never knew much about his early days. And something happened when I was in college. Some company called Black Hawk Films started restoring films, silent films. Among them was Grandpa's Steamboat Bill Jr. And there was in Berkeley, California, there was the Silent Film Festival, one of the first big ones of its time. That evening was a revelation. When I saw this amazing, talented, athletic young man in these movies, and I realized this was my grandfather, I was absolutely stunned. I was amazed. And then I was starstruck. The last 45 years have been spent watching these movies come to the public, watching people enjoy them and laugh. To listen to live music when that goes, it's just wonderful to have a live orchestra. Grandpa's popularity spread and he has captivated audiences around the world. And now we are dedicating this beautiful plaque to him. And it warms my heart to see all of you people here to celebrate. Thank you.
Next, I want to bring up the person who, among 25 years of other achievements in the Keaton world, set this day in motion several years ago. Please welcome co-founder and president emerita of the International Buster Keaton Society, Patricia Elliott Tobias.
That was really high. I think it's high. Perfect. Everybody hear me? Okay. In 1909, the Vine Street School opened at 955 North Vine Street, just a couple of blocks that way. Now imagine, for a moment, that it's 1923, and you are 5 years old, just starting kindergarten at that school. During recess, while you're playing outside, you may, perhaps, hear a wondrous sound coming from nearby. It's the sound of construction and the sound of laughter. What joyous and amazing things could be happening over there? And wouldn't you just love to be a part of it? What's happening over there? Well, over here, is comedy. Movie comedy. Some of the greatest movie comedies ever made. It's the Buster Keaton Studio. Between 1920 and 1925, your life is a bit unstable. Your family moves at least 3 times, all within a block or 2 of the Barn Street School. You were the older daughter of a studio electrician who, for all we know, might even have worked at that studio. Your name is Eleanor Ruth Norris, and about 17 years later, on May 28, 1940, you will marry the boss of that lot of farm. And you remain happily married for the next 26 years. Fast forward to April 3rd, 1957. Eleanor has conspired behind the scenes with TV host Ralph Edwards to honor Buster on live television as part of the hit TV series This Is Your Life. As one of the couple's lovely parting gifts, Edwards promises that a plaque honoring Buster will be installed at the site of his 1920 studio. But that promise gets forgotten for 31 years. Until July 6, 1988, when, finally, the plaque has been designed and is installed. Of course, because this is a story about Buster Keaton, it's been put on the wrong corner. That corner, right there. Along with, on that date in 1988, Eleanor Ruth Norris Keaton was here. Well, there. Along with some of the honored guests who have joined us once again to honor Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin and the remarkable films these 2 film geniuses created. Right here. Not there. Here. So let me introduce our returning guest stars, those who were in attendance at the 1988 plaque dedication. If you attended last night's gala at Hollywood Heritage, you may have met a few people who attended the 1988 dedication, but who aren't here tonight. Actor James Karen and his wife, producer Alba Francesca, and photo archivist Mark Wanamaker, who worked with the Ralph Edwards Company on the previous plaque, but not on the location. Here today, who were also present 30 years ago, are film historian Leonard Maltin and his wife Alice Maltin. Of the International Buster Keaton Society, Bob Morgan, who was one of Eleanor's greatest. We are also fortunate to have with us several members of the Keaton family. In addition to Buster's granddaughter, Melissa Talmadge Cox, who we have already met, and her mother, Barbara Talmadge, sitting next to her, we also have Buster's nephew, Harry Moore, and his son and daughter-in-law, Mark and Tammy Keaton. To welcome actress Keaton Talmadge, Buster's great-granddaughter, who has inherited all the talent on both the Talmadge and Keaton sides of the family. Her escort for the festivities today is right here. As President Emerita of the 501c3 nonprofit organization, the International Buster Keaton Society, I'm pleased to introduce, in addition to our President Bob Morgan, Vicki Smith, one of our 2 vice presidents, who has flown in from Virginia, as well as our treasurer, Beth Peterson, who's here from Salt Lake City and probably serving some merchandise. Most of all, I am delighted to have all of you here, not there, here, to dedicate this glorious new plaque placed in the right location and honoring Chaplin and Keaton and their movies that will live forever. Now I'll turn the program back to our other Vice President, Alec Lev, who took this dream of mine and made it a reality.
Thank you so much, Patty. Next, I want to welcome someone with whom many of you have spent this morning. Touring the streets of Hollywood, walking in the footsteps of Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, and Harold Lloyd. He is author, historian, and location detective, the author of Silent Echoes Discovering Early Hollywood through the films of Buster Keaton, John Benson.
Well, thank you, Alec. It's an honor to be here. Thank everybody for coming. I want to mention, before you go home, go up to the corner of Lillian Way. Buster filmed 3 scenes from the goat there. You can take a selfie, or Buster filmed these scenes from the goats, just one right up the corner. So be sure to go there before you leave. To begin, Buster Keaton knew the streets of Los Angeles like the back of his hand. He traveled everywhere just to find just the right setting for a joke. And he often matched scenes together that were filmed miles apart. And though he was particular as a filmmaker, he was also very pragmatic. As some of you have already seen today, he conveniently filmed dozens of scenes right here in his home studio neighborhood. There are echoes of Buster everywhere you look. Right at this corner, where the stop sign is, Buster knocked himself down in Convict 13. He crossed the street there following Lord Crane in Sherlock Jr. And not only to do his own stunts, but while doing a stunt for another actor, also in Convict 13, he fell off the back of a motorcycle right there between that Lillian Way sign and that RCPCS sign. Anyway, right there, Buster fell off the back of a motorcycle for another actor. And let's not forget that over 100 years ago, Charlie Chaplin spent perhaps the happiest years of his career filming 12 comedy shorts for the Mutual Company right here at the same studio. So in the same intersection right here, Charlie and a group of firemen made The Fireman in 1916. Hollywood was still an agricultural community when the studio was built here in 1914. The former Cahuenga Valley Lemon Growers Exchange Warehouse stood right across the street, and you can actually see stacks of lemon crates appearing in a couple of Buster's early films. Can you imagine? Buster inhaled the fragrance of
love and passion and belief and faith in cinema, if you want to get highfalutin about it, movies, if you want to speak more plainly, and especially silent comedy, and more especially the silent comedy of Buster Keaton. I do believe there is something John referred to. This is kind of hallowed ground. I don't mean to be in any way glib about that. Things happen here that matter to us. And it's astonishing to realize that some of those things happened over 100 years ago. Now that was Chaplin's era, more than Buster's. But still, 100 years? Where did all that time get swallowed up? I realized how it happened to me. I fell in love with all of this when I was an adolescent, and then it was only 50 years ago. Somehow I got older.
It is plaque and proclamation time. And we are thrilled and honored that here to lead the way with us today is the man who represents this district, the 13th district on the Los Angeles City Council, Council Member Mitch O'Farrell. Council Member O'Farrell, I'm going to talk about you if that's okay, is a former professional actor and dancer. He's now the chair of the Arts, Entertainment, Parks, and Los Angeles River Committee on the City Council. As council member, he's been a huge supporter of the arts, culture, and historic preservation, and his office has been working with the Buster Keaton Society on this initiative since 2014. Please welcome Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell.
Thank you so much, Alan. So, Mr. Moulton, I'm a believer. Long before I ever got into public service, I was what I consider the ultimate movie fan. When I moved to Los Angeles, I moved to Hollywood when I was 21 years old, and I spent days at Hollywood Forever Cemetery. I was probably the only single 21-year-old there, but I have taken a trip down memory lane for the last 36 years in Hollywood, and here I am in front of all of you, distinguished guests, and I get to celebrate things like this as the Los Angeles City Council member representing Hollywood in the 13th District. I think it's a pretty good fit. I want to also mention that this is the second time we have moved a historic plaque from the wrong place to the right place. It's the second time since I've been in office. The first time was the Mac Sennett Studios plaque that actually went missing for several years. It was recovered. It had been put up in a curious location. And in January of 2015, we restored it in its rightful place on the wall of the studio over there on Glendale Boulevard in Echo Park. So if there are any other misplaced plaques that you all know of, let us know, because we know how to put them back in their rightful place.
Okay, David? Okay. And at some point, we're just going to do this. So we're just going to gather around. We did not rehearse this. So we've got two plaques that we're going to reveal, a big one and the explanatory one. And why don't we sort of do it all at once? Everyone, I'm going to jump down and be a part of the festivities. Maybe I know. I think everyone.
Give me a June night like and you in my arms, and with all your charms, these stars above, and we'll make love. I'll hold you and then enfold you. Dreams will come true. Just give me a June, the moonlight, and come on, you rounders, together, you dear. Story I'm going to tell you about a brave engineer. Casey Jones was the gentleman's name, and on a 6-8-wheeler, boy, he won his fame. Pulled out the station with a big heavy train, kept on going till he struck the main. Switchmen knew by the engine's moan that the man at the throttle was Casey Jones. Casey was going at a terrible pace when 444 stared him right in the face. Turned to the fireman and said, boy, you better jump, cause 2 locomotives are going to move. Casey said just before he died, there's 2 more roads I would like to ride. Fireman said, what can they be? It's the Southern Pacific and the Santa Fe. Miss Casey got the wire that Casey was dead. All the children cried so hard they wouldn't go to their bed. Mammy says, children, stop your crying, cause you got another papa on the Salt Lake line. Casey Jones, you got another papa. Casey Jones, he's on the Salt Lake line. Casey Jones, got another papa on the Salt Lake line. In a little Spanish town, 'twas on a night like this. Stars were peekabooing down, 'twas on a night like this. I whispered, be true to me, and she smiled, see. Many skies have turned to gray because we're far apart. Many moons have passed away and still she's in my heart. We made a promise and sealed it with a kiss. In a little Spanish town, 'twas on a night like this. In a little Spanish town, 'twas on a night like this.
That you met again by chance. You never really guessed you'd part at the height of your romance. But something in the air tells me that she don't care.
No.